All right. So Yang is a data modeling language. That's all it is. Okay. It's used for netconf, specific for netconf. It's not general purpose. It's designed for netconf. Okay. So it's pretty similar to what the SMI was for SNMP, right? So when you open a MIB file and you see all the definitions and the includes and the tables and all that, it's very similar. It's trying to accomplish the same thing, right, that the SMI did for SNMP. Okay. So its purpose is to determine the attributes of netconf data, including structure, syntax, and types. Now, if you're writing a netconf agent, for a router, you're going to define what is supported in the netconf interactions with Yang. Okay. So in a Yang module, again, a Yang module would be sort of a comparison to a MIB file. All right. You got header info, your imports, your includes, type definitions, your config and operational data declarations, and then your action notifications declarations. Those are for your RPC messages and whatnot. So the Yang will map directly to the netconf content. Yang was designed to be readable. I know a lot of MIB files aren't that readable. They're not. Well, Yang is actually really readable. It is. As a matter of fact, there's parsers that exist that will just straight up dump your Yang module into an XML. The point is, it's translated into XML easily. Okay. Here's a Yang module. Okay. We're declaring an Acme system, right? Some of this stuff we have regardless. Namespace, prefix, organization, contact. A lot of this is self-explanatory. Here's a description. Revision. So the trick to Yang revisions is that you don't delete old revisions. You just add new ones. Okay. We take a container which represents the system. We have a leaf host name, which is an attribute of a system. We have a type. We give it a description. Then we have a list. Right? A list can have one or more instances, and we call that list the interface. Each interface will have a name, a description, and then another attribute. It'll have a type. Okay. So as we can see, it's pretty readable. I mean, you can sort of understand what's going on with the netconf content this Yang will be translated to. Okay. And this is contrived. This is very, very simple because a lot of these get complex. But it's readable, okay? Does the vendor generally provide a Yang file? Yes, they do. Some might not, but my first real experience into netconf was with Brocade, and they do supply Yang, right? You said Cisco, Daniel H. said, and you said Cisco doesn't play nice with those yet. I cannot speak authoritatively on that. This was a few years ago when I played with Cisco's implementation of netconf. They may very well have cleaned it up substantially since then. I know on the ASR platform that I know it's done better, but Cisco, to be fair, it's kind of a thing that you either do right the first time and then you get it right, or you have to go back and reverse engineer and sort of re-implement, a new feature or a new standard or what have you. Juniper got it right the first time when it came to netconf. Okay, Cisco, I want to say they struggled a little bit. They may be better now. They may be like leaps and bounds better than they have been before. Again, like I said, Juniper implemented this right and it did the first time, and again, they were one of the key players in the whole standardization of netconf. Is netconf the future or REST API? These are sort of two different things, but they provide a similar result. In general, with REST APIs or REST, what you're doing is you're using generic HTTP methods like get, post, put, delete, stuff like that to implement an API where you can interact with something, whether that be a database or a web page or a device. You can interact with that in some way. Now, again, REST is also a newer thing, especially when applied to the network device market. I think that in terms of comparing the two, it's a REST-like operation when you deal with netconf, because if you think about the operations, the supported operations in netconf, you still have a similar verbiage, if you will, to the HTTP methods, like get config, edit config, lock, whatever. It could be comparable to put, post, delete, stuff like that. The content is different. Obviously, in a REST API, your content that you're putting or posting or getting is going to be delivered via HTTP. With netconf, it's secure transport that's required, and then it's all XML based. So you're doing similar things, but just with different data and in a different way. So each vendor has its own API for netconf. If so, the application has to accommodate vendor's API. If not, then application can be portable. Which understanding is correct? Netconf is a standard, right? Created by the IETF. There are RFCs for it. All right. When the vendor implements this netconf API, it behooves them to do it to the standard. Not all vendors can do it to the standard for various reasons. Mostly they're all internal reasons, but for the most part, even when implementing like some routing thing or some other protocol or feature, they should do it to a standard, but for some reason or another, they can't do it to a standard. Does the application have to accommodate the vendor's API? If you need to account for the vendor doing non-standard things with netconf, then yes, you do. That's part of your job as being a programmer, is figuring out those edge cases and where those edge cases lie and how to deal with them. Like when I personally done work in Python with netconf and Brocade, and netconf had some RFC revision for chunked messages or handling of chunked frames, essentially to make netconf transmission more efficient. Brocade didn't support this yet, so I had to figure out a way to turn that off. Also, to figure out a way to make Brocade deal with message IDs in a sane way. So these are problems that you will come across as a programmer, right? And these are problems that you'll want to solve, and these are problems that'll make you a better programmer because you'll figure out how to solve these, and you'll understand how to work around these edge cases. The application can be portable, but you still have to deal with these edge cases. Okay, no matter what application or script or code you write, you're always going to have to deal with edge cases. Period. So you'll get to a point where you're writing code that can accommodate maybe the majority of the vendors' netconf implementations, but you'll have handlers or exceptions or whatever to deal with the edge cases where it doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to.